The NBC4 News at 3 starts with breaking news.
Good afternoon. I'm Annabelle Sedano, joined here with Michael Brownlee. We are following breaking news. We are in pursuit of a stolen vehicle. NBC4's Eliana Moreno is live over the scene. Eliana.
Annabelle, we've been following this person now for the last 30 minutes or so. He's on Wilshire Boulevard. Lots of big buildings here through this area. So pardon us as we make our way here through the neighborhood here. It's essentially near UCLA. And this is a stolen vehicle. It started with the LAPD's Rampart Division. It transitioned to the Olympic Division of the LAPD, but currently making its way westbound on Wilshire Boulevard. We've seen some erratic driving. At this point, no units directly behind him, but we do have the airship overhead, and I'm going to reacquire him here as we come around the buildings.
Eliana, if you can, just characterize the ins and outs of this chase. We're talking about speeds of excess of what, and is this primarily on surface streets?
Hey there, Michael. So we're in the area of Wilshire and Westwood. This has been a fast-moving police pursuit, pretty dangerous, as this driver has been trying to zigzag through some very busy streets here in the Wilshire area, Koreatown, and now the Westwood area. So I believe he's the one right there behind that bus. So we'll see him. Yep, right there. He's just behind the bus there. And this has been some pretty erratic driving here on Wilshire Boulevard for the most part. We really haven't seen him on really any other major street other than Wilshire, but he was on Olympic for a little bit, never on a freeway. But again, this started with the LAPD's Rampart Division. They went into surveillance mode because of the erratic driving, which means helicopter only. And just about 10 minutes ago or so, they tried to get units behind him yet again, and that is when the erratic driving started up. So at this point, no units directly behind him. It's just helicopter only, and it looks like we're about to hop on the freeway. So looks like we are getting on the 405 freeway. I'll let you know here we're going north or south here as soon as he completes the transition, but we're getting on the 405 here from the West LA area.
Eliana, we still don't have a confirmation. I know you said you heard that there was possibly another person in that vehicle, but we still don't know for certain if there is, correct?
Yeah, we never saw them get out. We had some buildings in the way at the only point that we heard that the driver had parked the car and they had started to walk away, and then they got back in. Now, during that time, there were no units behind the vehicle, so they pretty much didn't think anyone was chasing them anymore, so they simply got back in the car and took off again. They were driving pretty normally after that, and that is when one unit of the Olympic Division of the LAPD got behind the suspects again, and that is when things really picked up steam. We nearly saw him hit a mother pushing a stroller just a few minutes ago. So this really has gotten quite erratic ever since. And now we're going northbound on the 405 freeway here in West LA.
Yeah, northbound on the 405, we see him riding the shoulder continuously. As we know, if you've ever traveled the 405 north or southbound during this time of the day, as you can see, it is jam-packed here. But again, Eliana, no ground units behind this car as of yet?
Yeah, so, Michael, at this point, no units directly behind him. You see the airship overhead there. I'm trying to get the car again. He was on the other side of that wall there, so I couldn't see him. But we are hearing that he is passing Sunset, which is right where we're at. So as we come over the freeway, I'll be able to get an eye on him again. But again, we are hearing he's in the area of the 405 freeway and Sunset, which is right around here. So let me see if I can get him again. There he goes, right under the Sunset Boulevard exit, continuing northbound on the 405.
Yeah, and at this hour, we are definitely seeing a lot more traffic heading north on that 405, Eliana.
Yeah, this is really going to get busy for this guy. And one thing we know about him just from following him for the last 30 minutes is he does not like to wait in traffic. So whenever he does encounter traffic, he does things like this. Rides the right shoulder, rides the center divider, rides in the wrong lane, will just turn in front of another car. And so it's been a dangerous one whenever he does get this sense of desperation whenever he encounters traffic.
So when will, Eliana, I'm asking you this because you've covered a number of police chases. They've disengaged with ground units. When will they re-engage? What will it take at this point?
So at this point, they'll keep the helicopter on surveillance mode only, and they're going to wait to see if this guy thinks he's no longer being pursued and starts to drive a little bit more calmly. Maybe they'll see him drive into a parking structure, or they'll just see this guy go home, and that'll be the chance for officers to swoop in. They normally do keep some ground units in the general area, but not close enough to where the suspect can see them through his rear view mirror. So we do see him start to slow down a little bit here. I'm wondering what that is about. I think it might just be the slower moving traffic here. But again, we don't know what his gas situation is. Could he be running out of gas? Of course, we do see some damage to the car. It's got some front bumper damage, so perhaps the vehicle is just at some point just going to give up on him. So officers do have a couple of things when it comes to how this could potentially come to an end. They don't believe that he is armed, so if the speeds and the situation on the road is just right, they could also try a pit maneuver. So officers really do have a lot of options at this point.
Boy, this driver is just weaving in and out of these lanes, and of course just crossing all of these other drivers that are potentially unaware that there's a pursuit going on. Eliana, you mentioned, this vehicle, as we know, is a stolen vehicle. Do you know from where it was stolen from at this point?
The only thing we know, Annabelle, is that it was originally spotted in the LAPD's Rampart Division, which is near downtown Los Angeles, but it's unclear if that's where it was stolen. However, it was a Rampart Division officer that ran the plates, and the vehicle came back as a stolen, so they tried to pull it over, but the suspect took off, and that was at around 2:10, so it's been nearly an hour, and for the most part, he was on surface streets until just a moment ago, when he hopped on this northbound 405. So that really does change things a little bit, because this entire time it has been the LAPD in pursuit, including with their airship. Now that he's on the highway, and we don't know how long he's going to be on the highway, this does give the California Highway Patrol potentially an opportunity to get involved and take over the pursuit, considering that it is now on the freeway.
And when you say take over the pursuit and become involved, that's with ground units, I presume, and what are their tactics like, and how do they differ from the LAPD?
Yeah, that's what we're hearing right now, is that they're trying to get a couple of light bar units, so some patrol units with lights and sirens to get behind this guy, and it appears that it is the CHP that they're trying to get behind this guy. So what's different between them and the LAPD is the CHP, they're essentially the police agency of our freeways. So regardless of where this guy goes, anywhere on our freeways here in the Southern California area, or anywhere throughout California, the CHP is going to be able to stay on him. So it makes it easier in terms of just radio communication for those officers to be able to communicate as they continue to chase this guy through different sections of the city, especially since we're now leaving the basin area of Los Angeles and headed into the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah, so, let's talk about traffic here at this hour, Eliana. We're talking about the 405, and we know that as we get deeper into the valley, we are going to see a lot more of that traffic.
Yeah, correct, Annabelle. And because he's stuck in a little bit of traffic, look what he's doing. He's getting in that emergency lane. And I always hate to see this, because whenever you are stranded on the side of a road with a flat tire or some sort of mechanical issue, you're already having a terrible day. And then this guy comes at you at full freeway speeds in a lane that he is not supposed to be in. It could really make for a very dangerous situation. So thankfully, he's back in the regular lanes now, but really zigzagging all across this northbound 405 as he approaches Mulholland Drive.
Hey, Eliana, for those who are just joining us, if you can sort of set the stage, where I know we're on the 405 freeway, can you give us something a little more specific?
Yeah, so we just passed the Getty, Michael, northbound on the 405 freeway. We're coming through the Sepulveda Pass. We're going to end up on the San Fernando Valley side of the county here. And he's coming up to the 101 freeway. So that's going to be his next chance to get on any other freeway if that is his intention. It really is the first time that we see him get on any freeway. So at this point, I can't really say that there's any rhyme or reason to his driving. For the most part, it seemed like he was very comfortable on Wilshire Boulevard in the mid-Wilshire area. So if he has any intention of going back in that direction, he's going to have to take either the 101 east or make a U-turn at some point and head south on the 405.
Yeah, could easily also get onto either the 118, the 5 freeway. This driver does have some options once it gets into the valley.
Yeah, he really will have a lot of options, and he also has a couple of major street exits coming up, like Ventura Boulevard. But where he's at right now, he's not going to be able to transition to anything, considering he's all the way in that emergency lane on the far left. Again, the lane that he's in is not a lane. That's an emergency lane. That's where you would be if you were broken down. But he realizes it really doesn't have any traffic, and what we know about this person is he does not like to sit and wait in traffic. So he'll take whatever lane he has to bypass some of the slower moving traffic as he approaches the interchange with the 101 freeway here from the northbound 405.
And based on what you see thus far, Eliana, do you think he's going to stay on the 405, perhaps make his way over to the 101?
At this point, your guess is as good as mine, Michael. There's really no telling what this person's plan is, if there is a plan at all. Very erratic, really no rhyme or reason to his driving. And we did see him stop at one point, or we heard over the radio scanner that he had stopped and gotten out of the car and tried to walk away. But then he got back in the car, even though no one was behind him. So that really would have been this person's opportunity to get out of this situation, ditch the stolen car, and walk away. But instead, he and what we believe a passenger did was get back in. So at this point, we believe that there are two people in this vehicle, what looks to be a silver Ford Focus with some front end damage, and it is coming back as a stolen car.
Windows are so tinted, it's really hard to see what's going on, any movement inside that vehicle.
Yeah, we can't really see through this dark tint, and we're just going based off of the information that we heard on the scanner earlier, was that two individuals had gotten out of the car, but there was a lot of the time where we couldn't see this guy. He was driving through the Mid-Wilshire area where there's a lot of high-rises, so we couldn't see the car the entire time, so it's not out of the question that potentially he could have dropped the passenger off at some point, and at this point it's just the driver. But if we're going with what we've initially heard on the scanner, it is two people inside of this vehicle.
You know, and this was a stolen car out of the Westlake District. LAPD first in pursuit of this. And this driver, for all accounts here, Eliana, sort of breaking the pattern that we're used to seeing, staying within the area in which you're familiar with. We've gone from the Westlake area through Beverly Hills. Now we're on the 405 northbound, headed into the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah, we're a very long ways away here from where the pursuit originally began. We're entering the Van Nuys area of the LAPD, so I am hearing them say that they're switching frequencies over to Van Nuys. But again, it was actually Olympic Division that took over the pursuit the second time. So just to backtrack, it was originally Rampart Division. They let it go, and for a while, this guy was just driving on the road without anyone following him in any way. And that is when the Olympic Division got behind him, and now because he is headed into Van Nuys' area, I am hearing them start to talk about it. But again, the CHP is also a possibility. They could potentially try to take over this pursuit. George, I've got exhaust.
You know, with the other thing, you know, with desperation kicking in,
can you give me a pedal?
You wonder whether or not at some point this driver will just abandon the vehicle, knowing that there isn't any units behind him, and just take off running. You know, we've seen everything in these pursuits, so I mean, at this point, you just never know, right? The psychology behind these drivers. Yeah,
and again, we've seen lane changes here. As traffic here, as he makes his way through Van Nuys, continues to stack up here. Is this a signal perhaps that he's going to exit here on the 405 northbound through Van Nuys? Eliana, any indication that he may perhaps exit? Is there an exit nearby? And if so, what is it?
Hey, Michael, yes, so he's actually right at the interchange with the 101, so he still has that option. But, of course, we're also coming into the Sepulveda Basin area. We've got majors like Burbank Boulevard, for example. But right now, he's just kind of trying to blend in with the traffic here as he continues to make his way north. You did see that police airship, though, and you can see how low that airship is. So this person clearly knows that they're still being pursued because they can see the police helicopter overhead, but he might be exiting. So we'll see as he approaches this exit here. Let's make sure he doesn't try to just merge back with the flow of traffic here on the 405, but it does look like he's exiting that exit that I mentioned, Burbank Boulevard here. So that's going to put him into areas like Sherman Oaks if he goes to the right, Encino if he goes to the left. Currently set up to make that right-hand turn toward the Sherman Oaks area, but this guy is unpredictable, so we'll see what he does.
All right, and that's going to be Sepulveda once he gets closer to that intersection, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Correct, yes.
Okay,
yeah, so Sepulveda Boulevard runs parallel to the 405 for most of its stretch, and that's exactly where we're at. Annabelle, go ahead.
Oh boy. Okay, and look at this. You know, and we all know what Sepulveda looks like. I mean, that is very congested.
Apparently, he didn't know because
yeah, look at that. Oh.
There's an LAPD unit there. We saw Eliana, but he was able to bypass that unit there. Again, traffic stacked up. This is the first ground unit that we have seen here. This was in surveillance mode through the LAPD. This is an LAPD cruiser behind Eliana?
I believe it's CHP, Michael. I didn't get a good I didn't get a good chance to look at that unit. It happened so fast, but I'm just going based off of what I saw on the roof of it, and it looked like it was a CHP unit potentially. But once he gets closer to him again, I'll be able to confirm. But you see the erratic driving starts up yet again, now northbound on Sepulveda Boulevard, north of the 101 freeway. And look at this. This other driver unintentionally is right in front of him. He was waiting to make a turn, and the driver going to just simply go around him and continue northbound on Sepulveda Boulevard.
Yeah, driving in that middle lane there, you saw it, and of course just weaving in and out, going into the opposite lanes there. Now in the bus lane. You know, very dangerous. We saw a pedestrian crossing the street there. So many people unaware of what's going on.
Yeah, completely unaware because there's no units behind him. And, of course, people can see the helicopter overhead, but you don't know for sure what the helicopter is doing, who they're looking at. And at this point, this driver is actually stopping there at the light, which I'm surprised. You really haven't seen him do that often. He usually just runs right through the reds. But continuing northbound on Sepulveda through Irwin, ran yet another red light, and about 30 miles an hour or so here northbound on Sepulveda Boulevard.
All right, so this chase continues. This is a stolen vehicle, reported stolen vehicle out of the Westlake area, Rampart LAPD division. First handling this, it has since moved through Beverly Hills, now into the San Fernando Valley, deep into the San Fernando Valley. And again, we believe there possibly might be a passenger inside, but the driver here characterized as erratic, high speeds, top speeds, a couple of close calls, and again, was able to ditch what we appear to be a CHP unit there on Sepulveda Boulevard.
You know, Michael, and this is a pursuit that started a little after 2 o'clock, so we are well, you know, past an hour mark here, approaching an hour and a half. And no sign of this driver stopping at any point. Eliana, we've been talking about gas also. At what point will this driver run out of gas?
Yeah, correct. And we don't know, is this a hybrid Ford Focus or is it just the regular one? When did they get gas? But they've been driving now for at least over an hour. That's at least how long we've known about this pursuit. But it's also unknown where the vehicle was taken from. We know that the pursuit started in the Westlake area of the city. So that's near MacArthur Park with the LAPD's Rampart Division, and has then moved to Olympic Division and now into the Van Nuys area. He's entering a strip mall parking lot. So let's see if oh yeah, all he's trying to do is just cut through traffic. Interesting choice. That leads me to believe that maybe he does know this area, because if you didn't know that this was going to lead out, why would you drive into this parking lot? So you see him here at the corner of Van Owen and Sepulveda, just waiting to remerge with traffic.
Yeah, the remerge, however, isn't as simple as he thought with all that oncoming traffic here. Again, similar to what he saw. Again, wrong way here, obviously, as he makes that left-hand turn. Again, just another yet risky move here made by this driver here in this pursuit, Eliana.
Yeah, it's been dangerous. High speeds at times, erratic turns in front of other vehicles, nearly hit a pedestrian, running red lights. So the driving has been quite erratic, and the person is just wanted for a property crime. It's a stolen car, and in fact, the LAPD was willing to give it all up earlier during the pursuit. They had backed off completely, helicopter included, but then the driver continued to drive pretty erratically, so they got units behind him yet again, and that brings us to where we're at now. So he's just under the freeway now, under the 405 freeway, approaching Haskell. So he's still here. Let's see if he comes out the other side. There he is. Yep, there he goes.
We've seen it before, Atlanta, where they actually park underneath an overpass and ditch the vehicle. And you know, that's what I was perhaps thinking was going to happen, but we saw him pull out here. Can you give us a location for our viewers here, Eliana?
Yeah, we're just north of the Sepulveda Dam in the Lake Balboa area, headed westbound on Van Owen, coming away from the 405 freeway. So in the direction that he's heading, there is no other freeway that he can take. He would have to make a southbound turn onto any of these major streets, and that could eventually get him down to the 101 freeway. But for now, he's pretty content headed eastbound here, or westbound rather, on Van Owen approaching Woodley.
You know, as he gets closer to Balboa, though, here's my concern. There are schools around there. And Balboa and Van Owen, very concerning because it's 3:20. A lot of kids are starting to come out. Then we have Birmingham High School. We have a middle school around that area. So a lot of pedestrians, again, as we've been talking about. We're talking about the San Fernando Valley. We know that there are many pedestrians that walk around on these streets.
Yeah, this is a very busy area. A lot of people will either commute, take public transportation, take buses, walk around. So this is an area that we always see people out and about, especially because it's so close to the Sepulveda Basin. A lot of people just go for their stroll here at the dam. So it is an area where we're used to seeing a lot of pedestrian traffic. And as you mentioned, Annabelle, we do have a lot of major schools here in the area as well. And it's that magic hour where kids are getting out of class and will likely start to make their way toward home. So that really is what kind of makes this a little bit more dangerous than a pursuit that you'd see at any other time of the day. And at this point, there's no way for any of the motorists here or any of the people walking to know that this vehicle is in a police pursuit because there's no units behind him. They simply think that this is a person that is driving erratically at high speeds on surface streets on Van Owen. There is an airship overhead, but you can't quite tell what it is that that airship is looking at. But continuing now westbound Van Owen, passing by that tow truck there with that classic car.
There, I just saw a person. Did you see that person, Michael? I just saw a person on the corner there. I'm not sure if that was an officer or not, but definitely saw somebody near that corner there. Eliana, spike strip, would that be a game plan at this point?
Absolutely, Annabelle. That would actually be an excellent choice for officers to deploy a spike strip in front of this vehicle. But the problem is they haven't really been able to figure out a pattern with his driving. If he were to stay on one street consistently, then they would be able to anticipate it and put that spike strip up ahead. But at this point, his driving has been so erratic that it's really difficult to figure out where he's going to be in order to effectively deploy that spike strip. Another option, of course, is the pit maneuver. They don't believe that he's armed, and he's driving right now at the appropriate speeds for a pit. But the problem is he's on very busy, congested streets, and they're not going to try a pit maneuver when the traffic is this heavy.
Yeah, caught here between the curb and another car here. It doesn't seem as if that car is going to move at any point in time.
Yeah, so there goes that other car.
Right.
I saw no attempt to try to communicate with that other driver in any way. They just simply happen to end up right next to each other. But continuing on Van Owen, I am hearing on the police scanner that there are some marked black and white units that are on their way. I'm hearing it's at least 4 of them, so perhaps we will see them join this pursuit here in the next few minutes.
Eliana, so the methodology of pulling the ground units is to ease the anxiety, perhaps, of the driver, perhaps provide some calm. But it doesn't seem to be working. We've seen the speeds ratchet up. We've seen the sort of aggressive driving ratchet up as well. So to re-engage, what will that do?
I think it could potentially agitate this driver a lot more, Michael. But unfortunately, being in surveillance mode doesn't seem to be working, as you mentioned. He's still driving erratically. So I think at this point, the watch commander is weighing his or her options and is saying, if this person's going to drive erratically, whether or not we're behind them, then if we are at least behind them, then other motorists will know that this is a police pursuit. They'll be able to clear out of this person's way, because at this point, if you're a motorist on these streets. You're basically on your own. That white vehicle there, I don't know what he's trying to do. I don't know if it's an unmarked potentially. Yeah, maybe an unmarked unit here, the way that he is following him. But you saw him trying to signal over to the suspect to come to a stop. Clearly that did not work. But yeah, looks to be an unmarked Dodge SUV there, really making this driver nervous as he just kind of makes zigzags and turns here for no apparent reason on White Oak Avenue.
But, Eliana, it wouldn't be impossible for it to be a civilian. We've seen that, too.
Yeah, that is a very high possibility there, Michael, but I see those marked units there.
Right.
Yeah, I see all those marked units there, which is what leads me to believe that this is all a very well-orchestrated effort here from the LAPD to try to bring things to a stop. That unmarked unit is in the lead, and then you've got what looked to be about 5 or 6 units that were waiting there on White Oak to join this pursuit.
You know, and that's one great game plan that officers have. Oftentimes, these drivers are unaware that there are unmarked units that are trailing behind them. And, you know, just when they're getting comfortable, in come in those units.
Yeah, exactly. That white car, actually, what we believe is an unmarked unit, I had seen it behind the car for quite a bit now. Oh, and I think he might have just crashed. Yep. I think he just crashed there behind the tree. You see the...
Oh, and he's running.
Okay, the suspect is running. Yep, so he's going running.
2 people.
You see, yeah, you see people running behind him.
3 people. I see 3 people.
One of them came out of what we thought was that unmarked unit. But this is who we believe is the driver continuing to run. And again, on this, what I'm hearing across the scanner, they're not saying anything about that white car. So that's why I believe that it was part of the LAPD operation. But here comes the LAPD. This is the LAPD's Olympic Division officers coming in for the arrest. They're going to be taking this man into custody. And you can see 4 officers, 5 officers, 6 officers coming in for the arrest, and they still have to clear the car. Again, we heard that there was possibly a passenger, so they're going to try to take that person into custody. You'll start to see some of these officers start to run in that direction because they're going to try to locate that person as well. And here's the other person. So here you go. So they're describing this person as a woman. And here we have additional officers running. So let's see where they run to. That'll answer some of our questions regarding that white car that we had seen there behind the suspects. We will get confirmation if that was in fact an unmarked or if it was a civilian, depending on the way that these officers react to that vehicle when they come up to the intersection where that car crashed.
Okay, and all of this happening in an alley there. What street is this, Eliana?
This is going to be Van Owen at Hesperia Avenue, Annabelle. So Van Owen is the major that you see across the top of the screen, and then the cross street here is Hesperia Avenue, which is a residential area. And you see the officers here clearing the car, and now I'm seeing officers running. So they're running toward this person. Now, this person was in that other vehicle that we thought was an unmarked. But the fact that they're detaining this person tells me that that likely was a civilian. So that white car that we saw following the suspect vehicle, at this point, it appears that whoever was inside was not a law enforcement officer because they are taking that person into custody.
Well, that's interesting.
So 3 people, let's just reset the table. 3 people in cuffs as of right now, perhaps 2 from that original stolen car and 1 from the vehicle that was in pursuit of the car, right, Eliana?
That is correct, Michael. Yeah, we saw the 2 detained from the silver Ford Fusion, male driver, female passenger. And you'll remember when that car came to a stop, that white Dodge SUV that we thought perhaps was an unmarked unit, we saw somebody running out of that car after the suspect. So it appeared that it was perhaps some sort of undercover officer, but that person is now in custody. So that leads us to believe that that person was somehow in cahoots with the suspects, and they are now in custody as well. So at least 3 people now detained at the termination of this stolen vehicle pursuit here in the San Fernando Valley.
Boy, a lot going on there. We saw how quickly those officers approached those 2 people that went behind Van Owen onto that alleyway, trying to get away. Officers caught up with them really quick. And then, of course, now they're talking to this 3rd person. Yeah. Not sure if it's from that, unmarked car that we saw following. but definitely being interviewed there by officers.
Yeah, a car that we thought perhaps was an undercover unit because we saw the 4 LAPD officers then in pursuit thereafter. So, again, 3 people detained at this point. We saw the driver of that Ford Fusion along with a female passenger being apprehended in that alley. Now a third person we, of course, will work through to try to find out what his or her connection is to what we've seen here this afternoon.